What's up, you guys? It's Josh here, bringing you a stimulus check and stimulus package update on Thursday, July 30th. We have so much to get into today. I hope you enjoyed the video and the update. Let me know down below by hitting that like button, and also please hit the subscribe button and turn that thing gray so that we can grow this channel and the community. Let's get into it. Alright, so we have some really big news. We just got numbers for the GDP and the economic growth, and we know that the economy contracted at a record rate of 32.9%. And that is crazy. GDP is down by about 9.5%. That's a pretty big number for GDP to be down. Now, this was expected. It has been represented in the stock market this morning. I know some things were not looking great. We do have some exciting news though. We have a lot of big tech companies that are going to announce earnings today, so it'll be super exciting to see if they're able to rebound before the end of the day. Who knows? I guess we will see. Secondly, I know that we have talked about the $600 added on benefit of unemployment. One thing that I think is important to know is that the US Census Bureau did a survey and found that 51% of American households have been affected by some sort of job loss or even reduced hours. We know now that that unemployment benefit has expired, and who knows if it's coming back. The Republicans and the Democrats are currently fighting. Apparently Mitch McConnell won't even be in the same room as Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, which is very concerning that we have some of the most powerful people in our government that will not sit in the same room as each other. Now, the main argument for Republicans is that people are making more on unemployment than they would normally at their full-time job, but that argument is only valid if people can actually go to work and work the number of hours that they were working before the public health crisis. That argument is not really valid right now because we're seeing a lot of record number days of cases. We're also seeing that people are just not working as much because there's not as much work to do. For example, you know, we've heard all kinds of stories about how this benefit is making people make more money, but we've also heard a lot of sad stories about how when this expires, people are not sure what they're going to do. So I wanted to share this story with you guys that I found in the New York Times yesterday, and it's really sad. There's a mother who lives in Atlanta, Georgia. She works for a media company, and her media company laid her off, and they were supposed to go back in June, but unfortunately nobody's really producing media right now, so it got delayed until August, and it doesn't really look like she's going to go back in August. I mean, we're already at August, and the unemployment benefits have expired. So with that being said, she has two children at the ages of 2 and 5. She has a mortgage of $1,700 per month, and of course her husband works too. I believe it said as a maintenance supervisor or something at a local hospital. And this has really impacted their financial situation because they've both either been out of work or they've had a reduced number of hours. We know right now that 11% of US households have some sort of food shortage in their homes where there's just simply not enough to eat. We know that the Democrats' last bill, the CARES Act, which was passed in early June, allowed, you know, some more food assistance, things like that, but we know that the HILS Act, which was just introduced by the Republicans, does not give any sort of food assistance. That is a major problem because we know that people are just going to go hungry. There's no other option. The food banks have been lined for miles, and there's no end in sight for this virus. You know, things are really looking up. A lot of companies have released earnings and really projections for when the vaccines might come out, and we think that we're going to have a vaccine probably by January 2021, but we still don't know that until it's actually in production, and even then it's going to take a while to get these vaccines to people. Now, one of the major problems is that there's not only a debate about how much to give people. The Republicans are also very divided because there's about 20 senators in the Republican Party that don't want to do anything at all. Now, I think that it should be mandatory for everyone who holds a government office to take an economics course, because if you simply went to college and took a basic entry-level macro and micro level economics course, you would know that America is hurting right now. The economy is barely hanging on, and if you choose to do nothing and sit by the wayside, you are going to contribute to the greatest economic collapse in American history. Now, one of these guys that says this is Senator Ted Cruz from Texas. I will throw the video in here right now, but he was quoted saying that he is not only a no, but he is a hell no on doing anything else, any sort of extra stimulus. Now, this was the quote that the media picked up on, but I do think it's important to see what he said behind that. He said that this was basically like a free-for-all for all the lobbyists and all the major companies, because they were like, I need you to throw this line in there for me and this line in there for my friend.
Ends up, we still don't know the details of this initial proposal, but as it's written right now, I'm not only a no, I'm a hell no. And sadly, I think this is envisioned as an opening gambit. Everyone expects the Democrats to come back with a huge wish list of spending. And this is the swamp in a feeding frenzy. Everybody's lobbyist has their hand out saying, well, look, if you're spending trillions of dollars, I want to get some.
And while that's true, I think that what needs to happen is that this is really showing the corruption in Washington and the impact of lobbyists and how much they actually contribute to these politicians' campaigns. And the politicians are afraid to upset them. So I think that big changes are coming. We need big changes, because this should not be the way the American economy and the American government is functioning at this moment. Now, back to the Ted Cruz video. Ted Cruz is busy fighting with American Airlines because he refused to wear a mask on an airplane last week. Why? I don't know. That seems stupid, especially for a US sitting senator, but you know, whatever, teddy bear. So it's just kind of ridiculous, but watch this video. Let me know your thoughts about it down below. In addition to that, we also have known for 2 months, that this package was going to end. The Democrats introduced legislation and passed it in the House back in early June. And you guys are never going to believe where this legislation has been sitting on someone's desk for 2 months, because they have chosen to just not act entirely. And now people are facing a lapse in benefits. You guessed it right, Senator Mitch McConnell, deer in the headlights. Just every time on camera, I just don't get it. And I filmed a video last night, and it was a very angry video, so I chose to not post that I don't want to look angry on the internet, but I am angry, and you should be angry too, because CNBC just did a poll where they collected a bunch of data and they put it in a chart, and it goes over the number of US households who are at risk of facing eviction, or they cannot pay their rent. We know that there was a ban on evictions for a while. Now that has expired. Either way, there's going to be a lapse in the time when the legislation can kick in, because we have only until Friday to figure this thing out, and today is Thursday, and I don't see anything happening. Now, I will throw this chart up so you guys can look at it. The numbers are simply astounding and very scary. We know that when people are forced into homelessness and they are evicted from their homes, it creates significant economic damage for everyone, but also it creates a very big uphill battle for everyone who was evicted. It's very difficult to get into a new apartment. It's very difficult to get into public housing. It's very difficult to get food assistance. It's really very difficult to continue your life the way it was before you were evicted. This has significant emotional, physical, and traumatic effects on people who are evicted from their homes, and the United States government is simply falling short in this moment and being an epic failure to everyone who is a citizen of this great country. All right, and then lastly, there's new legislation being introduced by the minute, but right now it appears that the people who are elected to office are just so divided that they cannot agree on any one thing. It's going to be really interesting to see how this thing wraps up, because eventually somebody's going to have to take a loss. You know, we've heard Senator Mitch McConnell kind of breaking away from President Donald Trump. Donald Trump is, you know, wanting the FBI building to be built and include that in the next stimulus package. Although the Republicans are also worried about the national debt and want to keep the cost of this next package as low as possible. Why you would want to spend $2 billion on a new FBI building when you're worried about national debt, I don't simply know, and I don't think that they do either. They're just pushing random crap into this bill. I would encourage you guys to call your senators, call your representatives. They're probably not going to talk to you. Their staff is not going to have a lot of really anything to offer you, but at least call them and let them know that you are angry and you are demanding some sort of stimulus right now in this moment to meet the moment. All right, guys, and that's sort of your angry morning, afternoon update. I will be back with you guys later today to bring you another update over simply really moment by moment developing things that are happening and what people are saying when they're coming out of these conferences. The person that I really expect to bring this all together is Secretary Steven Mnuchin, because he knows the impact that this can have on the economy. Yesterday we heard from the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, and he said, you know, we are doing everything that we can do to keep the markets liquid, which simply means that they are doing everything that they can possibly do to prop up the stock market and keep banks lending and make sure that everybody has enough money to lend without those markets tightening up, because when you do that, you have another crisis in itself. So I hope you like the update. Please remember to hit that like and subscribe button down below, and I will see you guys later today.